Yeah, take yourself.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to United States of Africa and Global Pan-Africanism Network. My name is Lillian Deborah, and I'm the VP of Global Pan-Africanism Network. I have amazing people with me today. So we have Sister Diana. She is the personal assistant, but much more anyway, of GPAN. So welcome. We have Brother Zion. He is founder of the Monday Mental Health, and he's part of the Nigerian chapter. And we have our amazing Brother Amos, or our Zebra, who is a talented musician. And I'm really excited to have this conversation today about Black Love Day. So most of us know that tomorrow is Valentine's Day, but very few know that there is an actual day that celebrates Black love specifically. So, and that is today, the 13th of February. And we just want to create an awareness about this holiday and talk about what Black love actually means for us as Pan-Africanists, for Pan-Africanism, and for us as a community. So again, a very warm welcome to everyone. And yeah, let's get started. So Black Love Day is incorporates 5 tenets. And these 5 tenets are love for the creator, self-love, love for the family, for the Black family, love for the community, and love for the Black race or for the African nation. And I would like to talk about each aspect of this, of the love. And then we're going to have some beautiful music. So we're going to start with love for the creator. So normally in Global Pan-Africanism Network, we don't really talk about religion because it can be quite divisive. But today, because it's obviously part of the Black Love Day, creating love for the creator and the creation, we're just going to briefly talk about this. What does that mean as Pan-Africanists? And for us as Africans? And I think without trying to be divisive, if we talk about our divine purpose on this earth, and our divine that it's not by chance that we are where we are and that we're doing what we're doing, but we do have a purpose. And I think that we can all agree to that. But yeah, I'd just like to talk just briefly about the first tenet of Black Love Day, which is the love for the creator. So I'm just going to invite Sister Diana to briefly introduce herself, and then what do you think that love for the creator means for our community and as Pan-Africanists?
Okay, thank you for having me on the show. And yeah, I'm Sister Diana, and I'm the PA in the United States of Africa and for Global Pan-African Network. What does love for the creator mean for us? Well, as African people, we are naturally spiritual people. You can't take that away from us. I think if you believe that we were the first people on the planet, where did we come from? We came straight from the creator. So love for the creator is the most natural thing for us. It's the most natural thing to have. And we have so much spirituality in us, we're just naturally spiritual people. So it's an important thing. It's always an important thing. Even looking at history, even when they took us from Africa on the slave ships, coming right across the Atlantic, we were still worshiping. And they had to beat out our own sense of worship to instill another form of worship on us. And they knew that our worship was our power, so they had to dismantle that and rebuild it in such a way that they could oppress us. But that's another story. But certainly love for the creator is important for Black people, because it's just a natural part of who we are. That's something you just can't take out of us, unless some of us, because there are some of us who are atheists, some of us have chosen not to believe. So unless we choose to not believe, I think it's something that is inherently natural. It's inherently natural to us.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, as you said, we are a spiritual people,
Mm-hmm.
and often this spirituality obviously manifests in religion or being religious.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's very important. And because we are spiritual people, it is part of our community. So thank you so much for this. Um, Brother Zion, when we're talking about spirituality, what do you what do you think about when you think about spirituality? Why is that important for us as Pan-Africanists to celebrate that?
Yeah, it took me a while to actually realize because I grew up as a Christian. I know we said we said we are not going to talk about religion here, but I grew up as a Christian believing in something
Okay.
that I need to have belief, I need to have faith. Now, as I've grown up, I've actually realized that God is omnipresent, He's a spirit, He's everywhere, He's in me. So why should I believe? Why should I have faith when this thing lives in me? It's everywhere where I am. So if the spirit is everywhere where I am, then I'm inspired. If I am inspired, then I need to learn to listen to the inspiration to live life. So what I feel the imperialists did was to kill that, to make us know that we are actually inspired. They wanted us to start believing by finding a book and read about this, and then we can know something about who and how and when. So I find that very disturbing. And it's so hard that what I know is there is this force, which is the spirit, which we call God, that is there everywhere around us. And this is
Mm,
why we have this love. We must live it because we need to talk to him or her or whatever form that is in the spirit. We need to talk and be with it all the time because it lives in us. It's everywhere. So there's so much spiritualism, and if we bring back this, it will be easy for us to even unite because we'll be using inspiration in everything that we be doing. So that is how I want to contribute to Africanism to make sure that every African knows that we are actually inspired people with a lot of wisdom and intelligence, and we can do almost the impossible, which other people try to tell us that probably we can't.
yeah, thank you so much for this. There was so much in there. Yeah, there was so much in there. On the one hand, just recognizing the divine in us, but also
Yeah,
around us, in nature, in everything,
yeah,
and to do that, you obviously have this love for Mother Africa, the nature, the continent, the environment generally, and and also each other. Yeah, so spirituality in that sense, if you recognize the divine also in others. Right, thank you so much for this. Brother Zion, can you please can you brilliant. So yes, if we're talking about spirituality, or not spirituality as such, but love for the creator, how would you what is the importance of recognizing that, or of celebrating the love for, or showing love for the creator?
Okay. Thank you very much for having me be part of this conversation. Thanks a lot for all the previous speakers. Diana, I mean, well said. I mean, also my brother Adisbra, wonderful statements there you have all put forward. For me, I mean, looking at it from the perspective of this particular tenet, love, towards the Creator, it is something that is very pertinent because I mean we all recognize that we didn't create ourselves. That means we came from somewhere. I mean, so it's very important that we also recognize that, and also try as much as possible to show love to. I mean, once a time, man, just appreciate, man, your creator, because you should just have the understanding that you didn't create yourself, you didn't make yourself. I mean, so that should, that should inform, the decision of trying to find ways to express, your love to your creator.
Yeah, thank you very much for this, and just this humility that we are, we are created, and yeah, I think that is a very lovely thought. The second tenet is self-love, and I think that's so important. And I was speaking to a friend of mine. She's more like a sister, actually, a sister from another mister. Very, very dear to my heart, and we were talking about New Year's resolutions, and I said I want to work on self-love this year, like in 2021. And then she said, yeah, she said there's this phrase, I love myself enough to. And this became a little bit of a mantra for me. So I love myself enough to make this healthy decision. I love myself enough to, allow myself to make mistakes. I love myself enough to go for this job interview or go for this job I dreamed of, or I love myself enough to dare to walk in my purpose. I love myself enough to, challenge myself academically, spiritually, emotionally, and I love myself enough to go out of a toxic situation. But I love myself enough to take that chance and go maybe into a new relationship or a new love or something that I know could be beneficial for me. So this mantra of saying I love myself enough to do something that is actually good for me, and also I love myself enough to make these boundaries and say, okay, that is enough, and that's for me, that's comfortable, and try to. So yeah, that's something. I think it's a journey, but it's something I'm really trying to embrace. I see you nodding, Sister Anna. So when it comes to self-love, yeah, what would you say?
Yeah, I'm nodding because I think it's you've got to know yourself
Yeah.
first. You really have to understand yourself, because I'm the kind of person, I'm a giver. I'm a very generous kind of person. I give of my time, I give of my energy, I give of everything, and because I'm that kind of person, I tend to forget about myself. And when you forget about yourself, you forget to love yourself. And that's a very unhealthy thing. You've got to have balance in your life. We're givers. It is just part of who I am. I'm a giver, and so it's something that you have to learn sometimes to do, to love yourself, because it's very important. Because if you lose yourself and you keep giving and giving, you wear yourself out, and you can do yourself more harm than good. So self-love is very, very important. I think it's something that also leads on from the very first tenet about love for your creator, because when you understand that your creator loves you, it teaches you why it's important that you do love yourself, because he already thinks you're great. He already loves you. So looking at your circumstances, a lot of us are, some people are in really, really bad situations where they don't feel loved, and they don't feel that they're able to love themselves, because some people are showing them so much hate where they are right now. And it's very difficult for them to love themselves. Some people are in abusive situations and they just can't love. So it's very important to think about the fact that, okay, so even if 1,000,000 people don't love me, there is one great God, one great creator that does love me. And because of that, I have a right to love myself.
Absolutely.
I have a right and a responsibility so that I don't let him down or her down or whatever. I have that responsibility to love myself, because by virtue of the fact that I'm here because the creator says, I want you here. That's why I'm still breathing. And by virtue of that fact, I have a right to love myself.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important to come to that understanding that you have a right to love yourself, and to love yourself very well, because if you don't love yourself, how can you love anybody else? It's like if I have a basket of and I want to share fruit, but my basket is empty, how can I give to somebody else? I can't. I need to have my own. I need to have my own source from which to give out. So it's important. That's why it's important to love yourself. So yeah, a lot of things come out of it, but
Yeah, that's
that's how
no,
I feel.
absolutely. And I think that what you just said, if you don't have anything else to give, you need to fill up the cup and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
be able to
yeah,
give.
yeah.
I
And
think
you
we
don't need anyone else's permission to love yourself.
Mm,
And that's the thing a lot of us get confused about. We think, oh, well, because this one doesn't love me, I'm not worthy of it. It's not true. It's not true. It's not true.
I think yeah, it's very beautiful, isn't it? Brother Amos, self-love. Tell us about self-love. Oh, you're on mute. Sorry. Let me see if I can unmute you. Yeah,
Thank
sorry.
you. Sure. Uh, really, I've passed through a lot of situations. It is not easy. It is not. You really need someone to help you get out of the separate situation you've been there, or you need a lot of counseling and help. But one thing, just allow me to change this. I think I'm missing the makeup on this one. Thank you for your patience. So
Oh,
one thing I've actually learned about self-love is actually love starts with yourself. You can never love if there is no piece of love inside you. So the
mm,
biggest reality about love is you. Then you can love the next person, no matter how difficult it is or how difficult it is for them to give you back. Because of the love that is inside you is what will drive you to kill this love. And probably the other people will give back. So now when you lose it and start thinking you can get love from the other people or the other persons around life, then you lose it. This is where you can even hurt from suicide or other things. So the biggest job that we actually have as human beings is to find ourselves and find this love that is felt inside us. There's so much in life that can make you realize how much the universe loves you. Life
mm,
itself, yeah, life itself, nature itself. I mean, for us in Africa, it's easy to see love by seeing the birds flying around. It's easy to see love when people are walking around and concentrate on the positives. It's easy. So there's so much. Put yourself in a positive situation. That's what I actually try to do, no matter how many people try to speak negative about me. I don't concentrate on that. I concentrate on looking at the good into them. Even the rudest people around my life, what I look for is that love that is inside them. So we
mm,
try to build it around there, and it has actually worked. So it is very important to take care of yourself. So in anything that you are doing, do it for yourself. Because even when I'm a married person with 2 kids, actually, uh, it has been easy to love my wife that way because even if my wife comes in a certain way, because I love myself, I actually give it from myself to her. So it has worked so well in the years that we've been together. When she is in a certain mood, because I love myself, I will feel the way she's feeling. Then I'll try to go in and see how we can strike a balance, and then see and how we can heal a situation. It's very easy because I've got self-love. Now, you remember in the first panel, we spoke about inspiration. When you follow inspiration, because now we find God. Now, when we find God here, like Sister Diana was explaining, God is omnipresent, is everywhere. Now, because God is everywhere, there is no way He goes out of, He leaves us alone no matter how bad or how many wrong things we have done. He's always around us, trying to show us the right way to live. So it's the same thing also that I look at life and people around when I'm seeing my fellow black guys, my fellow guys trying to go in a way that is not the right way. I feel they are just not listening to the inspiration of God in that text, but to try to see on how you can help them try to get to know that they are actually bigger than that and they've got something bigger inside them that controls this life of the universe. So they are not supposed to concentrate on the negatives, but try to push and build positives that are going to make build life. And trust me, once we have this, we are going to have a united world of everywhere, and then we are going to actually know our position and we are in this life, and no ways, no oppression, nothing any human being will do or be said that is going to break our spirit and our soul to claim our position.
No, absolutely. I mean, and it shows how these tenants are also intersecting, how they're working together. These, um, and it's said that obviously these tenants, we should embrace them and celebrate them every single day. But there is this,
Absolutely.
it's this day to day where we focus on that. So thank you so much for this. And if you love yourself, then you can give and see the love in others. That is actually something so beautiful. You've just said. Yes. And yeah, when you said that, even if somebody disrespects you, you see the positive in the person. I was like, okay, that's I'm not always able to do that. So well done. But it is a journey, isn't it? It is a
Yeah.
journey, and we can all learn from each other. That's definitely something that that, um, that I do need to I do need to learn. Brother Zion, are you with us? Can you hear us?
Yeah, thank you very much. I must apologize. We've just got some little energy issues, and then my network also got distorted. I really apologize for
No,
this.
no worries, no worries. We have you here, and we're really happy to have you here. So, and we're talking about self love now. Okay, the second tenant, the self love, and what that means for us. Spoke a little bit about that I love myself enough to. It's like a new mantra for me. As Sister Diana spoke about, you have to have self love. Otherwise, how can you actually give love if you don't love for yourself? Have this love for yourself. Sister, sorry, but Amos spoke about finding the love everywhere, and even finding the love. If you have self-love, you can actually see the love also in others. So we were just talking about self-love, and also when it comes to mental health now, um where do you see that playing into this?
Okay, thank you very much. You see, I mean, talking about self in relation to love, and then again, trying to look at it from the mental health perspective. I like to cast our minds to the WHO definition of mental health. You see, it really begins with self, just like Diana mentioned, and I was trying to catch up with that before my network began to have some distortions. WHO made us understand that mental health is simply when an individual is able to identify his abilities or potentials. For that first statement, it tells you that when we talk about love, and you, like you mentioned about five tenets, it really begins with yourself, because if you're not able to find yourself, you're not able to know yourself, you're not able to begin to recognize that you as an individual, you as an entity, irrespective of whatever situation, whatever circumstances that surround you, whether your career, your business, your family, your relationship with anybody, beginning from yourself, there is a very huge need for us to love ourselves. Because, just like you also mentioned, like Mr. Amos did said, there is no how you can actually give or express love to others without first, lavishly loving yourself. Because otherwise, you wouldn't even know when you're even loving. You wouldn't even know when you're even giving that love to other people, right? Like we talk about the Black Love Day. I mean, and essentially it's about loving other people and then trying to make sure that whatever it thinks that's bringing discord among us is being resolved through love, and then let's unite and move forward. So without even you loving yourself, it's going to be very, very difficult and almost impossible to even know that you can express or that you're expressing love to others, right? So it's very important that we find ourselves, and then we love ourselves, okay, irrespective of your disabilities or your status or what you think you should have achieved, or what your goals are, or what you have like set out to achieve before particular time frames or not. I mean, whatever, inconsequential of the circumstances, please find at least a reason to love yourself. And for me, I like to tell our Black folks today that that reason that you should love yourself is that you're alive. Okay, and because you're alive and because you're Black, you can change something beginning from yourself. Thank you.
Yes, very inspirational. I always, thank you so much for this. Exactly. Okay, you're alive. Love yourself. Very short, very precise. Brilliant. Brilliant and beautiful. Thank you. So the next tenet is a family. So the love for the family. And what does that mean for us as Pan-Africanists, and the love for the family? So when I think about love for the family, obviously it's love for your immediate family, but also if you see us as as a family. And it takes, they say it takes a village to raise a child, and to have this support network, and to have this, like that we are actually together as a family, as a community. But there's a tenet of community, but this tenet is specifically for the family, and how we can moving forward, in what does that mean for us, loving our families, and playing, making sure that family is very important in this. And if we know, like, family in the community, in our community, is very, very important. So what do you say about this, Sister Diana?
Okay, so, well, when it comes to family, do I love my family? Yes, I do. I don't think I could love my family more than I do. I have wonderful parents, wonderful brothers, sisters, wonderful husband, two beautiful, wonderful children. So my heart is full of love. But when I was 17 years old, many moons ago, someone very dear to me, said to me that love is a principle, it's not a feeling. And I have to admit that when that was said to me, I think I was too young to even understand what that meant. It was too deep for me to take it all in. But as the years have gone by, I've come to appreciate what that actually means, you see, because family isn't always the easiest to love. They are usually the ones that cause you the most pain. And it's because you expect so much more from family than you do anybody else. And so they're the ones that hurt you first before anybody else, But if you understand the principle that love isn't a feeling, it's a principle. If you understand that, you can overcome a lot of things that family end up doing to you. And these are the things that I've learned over the years. And it comes down to forgiveness as well, because there's a lot of things that family do to you that to the outside world even seem unforgivable. So we have to cultivate also a spirit of forgiveness as well. And then again, who is family? What makes family? It isn't necessarily your blood. It's whoever embraces you and loves you back. It's your family. It's your family. And our family is broad. I mean, I've met, coming into this organization, I've met so many wonderful, yourself, for example, so many wonderful people. You just become family. And this family love that we feel, this love towards our family, needs to be extended worldwide. That's what the spirit of Pan-Africanism is. We have to love each other as family, because we are the African race, the black race, whatever you want to call yourself. We are one. We need to understand that we are one as family. And it's important. It's important to share that, because what somebody is missing from their immediate family, the extended family can give to them. So it's important. It's important.
Oh,
And that's
very,
how I feel.
yeah. I don't even like. There's so much in there. I don't even like. Yeah, it's this. You know. Oh, this, it's beautiful. And this love is a principle. You know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love is a principle.
Mhm.
Yeah. Beautiful. I don't have anything to say to this. I'm just like, yeah. I agree.
Mhm.
So sorry. Brother Amos. Family, love for the family.
And
You mute.
okay, I'm
Yeah.
done. Yeah, each both of you have actually said everything, but I've got to be very careful to find words that I'm going to say, but probably I will just be repeating what you said. Uh, Love is beyond the feeling, yes. Love is forgiving. Love is giving. Love is sacrifice. Love is
Mm,
so difficult to define because love is not giving up. Love is moving up. Love is embracing your friends' weaknesses and probably be a strength where they are failing and also be a motivation where they are getting disheartened. So love is a huge thing, and I think it's got so many ways that it's I don't know if a book can be filled just trying to describe it because it's got so much in it, even other things we don't even realize we do because we are filled with love toward the other person. So now that means that if we are seated here and are trying to come up with all these things we are coming up with, it means we are actually demonstrating this love for us to sit down here and talk about. So
mm,
the family, like Madame Diana said, family, family can be something else. I've got my two kids and my boys, it's very interesting to watch them fight and then they get along and start playing after some time. But if another person outside attacks one of them, both of them will go and fight against. They
mm,
won't say, you bet me the other time. They'll actually team up to fight the other person who's off team. That's the full definition of family. So families come together even when I think within their family there are apples that are happening, they cannot get along. But when they get outside, the world will see as if they get along all the time. So that is what it means. So as an African society, this is something we need to build around ourselves. I think the coming up of the United States of Africa within this love that we are trying to build is that we need to cover one for each other and try to strengthen each other and try to lift each other and try to motivate each other to see that our dreams are met, our goals are attained, and that we build a community that is strong for the and put up a strong foundation for our children and our children's children, so that they can live within this love that builds a family. And the family is supposed to be called togetherness because this togetherness is what was disturbed in the 1400s. I think starting 1450, somewhere there, that's when this spirit was broken. The spirit, when the spirit was broken of spiritualism, the one we spoke about in the first segment of our discussion, it actually now was brought down to families, and our families now were disturbed that other people there is so much divisions around. So if the
mm,
family is broken, then that family is almost no more because it can be controlled by a third person who will come along.
Mm.
Because it's like we have a referee, and the referee in a game decides whom to give a favor. So if we remain united as a family, we don't need a referee because the referee must look at who is going to give a favor. And if we are united, he wants see division. And if he doesn't see division, then there is no one who will look to see that it penetrates and destroys us. So we need to build this family with a lot of love, a lot of patience, a
Mhm.
lot of sacrifice to see that this thing is well and strong and founded on strong principles, like Madame Diana said. Family is everything.
Yeah, thank you so much for this. Exactly. So this idea that even if you're fighting and you don't get along, but outside to the outside world, you're a strong unit. And I think that's very important because there's so much friction in our community. There's this, the friction between generations, between, the sexes, women and men. We have the friction between, the diaspora, continental Africans. We have like there's so much going on, religion. So there's so many issues we have the issues of tribalism and so on and so forth. But if we manage somehow to embrace our variety and just work with it as a family, if that is possible. And I think, when it comes to myself, like I always have this question of how do we unite? Can we actually come together if there are people who have a completely different value system to yourself? It's easy to obviously show love with somebody you get along with, or who shares the same values, the same ideas, and the same kind of things. But how do you unite, and how do you come together with somebody who's so different and has a completely different mindset to yours? And I think that's where the challenge is, isn't it? And that's where I guess this idea of loving and of a family comes into it. So even if I can't stand you, or even if you're complete, um, um, at this moment, there's still this love for you because we are family. And I think that kind of this kind of idea plays into it. Yeah. So thank you so much. So the next tenant is community. So so the next tenant is community, and how do we show love into the community? So for me, um when I think about the local community, for example, like how can I show love to the local community here? I'm based in the UK. And for example, I would give examples saying, like, I support Black businesses, I support Black owned businesses, I support youth, youth work, or I support initiatives for the Black community. And I think that's how we can show love in when it comes to the community. But I think that the idea of family also plays into this, saying, okay, we are family, and as the Black community, wherever we are, so let's come together, let's support each other, let's work together, let's employ, for example, if you have a business, and so on, and work like this in the community. Sister Diana.
Yeah. As you said, this thing about family being part of the community, community becoming part of your family as well. It's so true. Um, Sometimes it's also important to show appreciation
Mm,
for what community does for you as well. Yes, you can do your bit in the community, but showing love to the community is showing appreciation for what the community does. Sometimes we don't even know how to show, and there are some fantastic community people out there. I'm telling you, things that they could do, I couldn't even begin to do. The way they go and champion causes. I'll give you an illustration. There was a time when my son had trouble at school. Some teacher was trying to label my son as one of the worst children to have started, which was a complete fabrication. He was trying to make a name for himself, and my son, my son. Anyway, I reached out to a sister in the community, and she attended school with me, and there I was with all my emotion ready to fight, and how dare you, and she just let me do. And then, because she was the stabilizing force, this woman in the community, I'm going to mention her name is Lorna Markland. If anyone knows Lorna, big up Lorna. She came to school, and with her knowledge and her expertise, she was able to diffuse that situation to the point where she had the headmaster backtracking. She had the deputy head turning around and saying, "Oh, I never expected this." And you see, because they were at fault, they were at fault, and she could see it. And she was able to just calmly step in, and she listened to their side, and she could see clearly what was going on. It was basically racism and blah blah blah. They weren't having it. When I said, you're racist, she said, "Well, how do you know you're not? What have you got in place to show that you're not?" And she really made them sit back. And by the time she finished with them, they were backtracking. The plans that they had, the negative plans for my son, they had to just scrap it. They knew that, and they were warned, if you press forward with this, you're going to regret it. All because a sister in the community said, "Don't worry, sis, I've got your back. I can see what's happening, and I'm going to stand with you. I'm going to come with you." And up to now, this happened a number of years ago, and I tell you something, that that caused a revolution in my. And she saved my son from a situation that could have been so negative. Because I tell you something, in the UK, they have a thing about our boys. They want to destroy them from when they're young so that they have no future. And she was able to nip that thing in the bud, to the point where the same teachers that were putting him down, by the next year, they had him on stage giving him prizes and singing his praises, all because of a sister. So I tell you, sometimes we need to just show appreciation for things that others step up and do for you in the community.
Absolutely.
And recognize their greatness and give them, that recognition, because honestly, we've got some fantastic people in our midst. Fantastic. And these are the kind of people that will go to work and they'll be abused at work. They will not be recognized at work. They'll be bypassed at work, but they will still have the energy to come out into the community and give their all and help. And honestly, we need to do something. That's love for our community, Seriously.
Thank you.
Seriously.
Love means appreciation.
Yeah,
And thank you so much for sharing this. Love means appreciation.
Yeah.
And appreciating our leaders, our community leaders, and whoever is doing something in the community. Absolutely. Thank you again for sharing the story. Yes, absolutely. Brother Amos.
Yeah. Um, in Africa, it's actually it speaks volumes. And actually, community is your first family here in Africa. So, particularly Zambia. So, when a tragedy happens on your house or anything goes wrong, the first people to run to your rescue or help, whatever sort of concern will start from the people in the community. They'll come there and actually in Africa, community, like she said, it takes a village to raise a child. It's still happening. Yeah. So uh, you have a funeral here in Africa. Sometimes there are communities where people don't have enough funds to run a funeral. But you notice that the people in the community will come together, contribute a bit of food, contribute here and there, and over time you find that the funeral goes off smoothly until the final day and everything happens all right. So community here it's really really much appreciated. And two, even if you are in a place where it's a closed compound or township, you will notice that there will never be leadership without the people. And that's why uh, community now is very important in all segments of all walks of life. Community is very, very important because if you were alone in that section of life, I think you would die with depression. So Now, if there are people around, I think we are sociable human beings. That's the way God created us. So, being sociable human beings, it means we need people to communicate with. We need people to do things with. We need people to encourage us. We need people to be around us to do things we cannot do. And then, if we need these people around, that's what is for the community. We need doctors, we need nurses, we need teachers, we need fire the brigades, you need all these other people. So these are the people in the community. So even when you are leading yourself, you are part of that community. So if
Mm,
you are part of that community and you make the community with them, then you need to be good to them because they offer you a service you cannot offer yourself. And you offer a service they cannot offer themselves. So love for the community is very, very important and must be respected. And I think that's all I can say for now. But community is really a very important thing, and recognizing that they are part of the family is a very
yeah, and as you said before, community is something, the love for community and being there for each other in the community is very, very important. It's very, very African, you said.
yeah.
Actually, that is it's an African thing, and it's in us as we're social people. And that's again, it's intertwined, isn't it? Family,
Yeah.
community, self-love, and these kind of thing, and love for the creator and love for others, and all of this together. So absolutely, and this love for the community, showing appreciation, absolutely. So, brother Zion, can you hear us? We're talking about the community. So the fourth tenant, the love for the community and what that means for us as Pan-Africanists and for our community. Um, can you hear us? I know there's some network issues. Did we lose you, brother Zion? I'm not sure if you can hear us. If you can hear us, just unmute yourself and then you can. You're still muted. Yeah, we're just gonna. Yeah.
Are you able to unmute his mic?
No, unfortunately,
Oh, okay, he's done
not.
it.
I've tried. um, no, brother Zion, you're muted. We can't hear you. Well, hopefully, we can sort it out because the next step as oh yeah, you're here. I can hear you. Yeah. Yeah. So community love,
Maybe it's on 99.
brother Zion. The love for
Hello,
community.
hi Lilian.
Hi. So good to have you back. um,
I'm
so
sorry, I'm missing out. I'm missing out a lot from this
oh,
show, and it's really hurting me.
oh
But
no, no
I know you guys are showering your love to me, and I'm trying to be strong. I'm fine, but it's really hurting me that I'm missing part of this show, and I'm just trying to be fine. I have to come downstairs. I'm outside. I mean, and my kids are all running over me. I mean, I'm trying to explain to them that I'm finding it hard to connect. I need to be in a meeting, but they are not really understanding with me.
we say how important
Also,
family
and
is.
what
They're part of it. You know what I mean? We want to hear the children around. That is something that, should be normalized. So we want to hear the kids running around. I know it's sometimes difficult to focus, but this is absolutely no issue. So, hello. um, exactly. So, hi. Yeah, and family is very important. We were talking about community and how important community is for us as Pan-Africanists and as Africans and as Black people. So talking about this, so we're just asking your daddy about community and what it supports. So we're really eager to hear his answer.
Okay. I mean, for me, community is a very critical stakeholder when it comes to either development or, I mean, anything you want to look at it from. The community is very critical, and I like to say that it's one of the one of the stakeholders that we really need to understand how we can express our love to it, and how we can also target, deliberately, that the community understands the love they need, and also how they can reciprocate the same. Let me quickly maybe also speak to it from this point of view with respect to mental health. The mental health of an individual, just like we began, of an individual, and then to a family, and then to a community, is very important to any level of development. And having said that, I would like to also quickly say here that with respect to the love that we're talking about, it's very important that, please, Africans, please, let's I want to appeal for something. And what I want to appeal for is, let's try to express our love towards the mental health of Africans, because the mental health of Africans is very critical in this moment that we are. And I believe, I mean, it's my perception. I believe strongly that if we can get right the mental health of Africans, then the development we have always yearned and longed for will begin to be realized. Because when we express our love to ourselves as Africans and to our community as the African community, you will begin to see that from our leaders, from the African government to the African people, we begin to see and understand the place of mental health plan, the place of mental health policies, the mental health in our respective societies. And that will mark the beginning of the development that we yearn for. Why do I say this? Because I tried to give the definition of mental health earlier, but I mean, I know I couldn't finish. I'd wanted to see how we can also hold this conversation, and then I poured the remaining of it. The three lines that are remaining out of what I tried to define earlier, are drawing from WHO, is Africans, we need to identify ourselves. We need to find ourselves. Yes, we have invisible wounds that are bleeding very seriously than physical wounds. And the easiest way we can begin to curtail, begin to manage, begin to solve these invisible wounds that is eating deeply into the African community and African society, African continent, is by showing love. And one of the ways we can actually begin to show love is by beginning to understand that, look, we need to be mentally healthy. Because if you're mentally healthy, I'm mentally healthy, we won't be hurting ourselves. We will be basing on the fact of the huge divides that we have, the huge differences that we have, right? And that will help.
I think we lost him, but I think he was so passionate about us. How important mental health is, and that we're working on our aspect and every single aspect of
And how we can.
Yeah, you were gone
Oh,
for
sorry.
yeah. No, don't worry.
Oh my God. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, no.
I'm sorry.
All good, all good.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to see. I'm trying to just connect how this love can really help, beginning from us as individuals to the family, to the community, to the continent at large. Because from the definition of mental health, we need to identify our potentials as Africans, right? Either at an individual level, at a family level, at a continental or community level, we need to find ourselves. Two, we need to be able to develop our coping mechanisms, right? I understand that we have our peculiarities, our differences, but then let's come up with measures that we can manage our stress levels. Let's come up with measures that we can begin to see that through love, we are productive. Through love, we are contributing to our communities. And why I'm saying true love is because basically, if there's going to be anything that any individual is going to be able to do to influence or to affect or to impact anybody, it must begin or stem from love. If it must really produce the impact or the result we yearn for or we desire, it must begin or it must stem from love, right? And that's why I really want to again appeal to the African community to please, irrespective of your field of endeavors, please try to help us, support the drive for mental health. I mean, in our respective countries, do we have mental health plans? Do we what's like the government authority? What's like that support? What do we have mental health policies? Do we have mental health structures in our communities? Right? Because I mean, there's just a lot that is happening in Africa that if we can't manage it and if we can't get our government to be committed to mental health at this level, okay, the kind of anxiety and anxiety related disorders that we're beginning to experience across Africa, the kind of depression, how it's eating and hitting hard on us, the productivity of Africa, even though as it were right now, it's not really good to write home about, it's going to deteriorate and it's going to worsen. We'll only be experiencing growth in our population, but then the relevant or the corresponding productivity of Africa will not be anywhere in view. And that's why I'm appealing that as we talk about love, please let this love propel us to support one another. And one again thing I would like to quickly say, I'm just happy that my network haven't disappointed me now. Let me just pour this down, please. The next thing I would like to say is, you see, the issue of stigma and discrimination that Africans suffer by the reason of conditions or mental health related disorders that their family members or they themselves suffer from is terrible. It's really appalling. Okay. Yes, we understand that we do not have enough facilities. We do not have a lot of manpower to support this particular sector of health. But then, among ourselves as Africans, the high rate of stigma, the high rate of discrimination that people with lived experiences or with mental health related disorders suffer from, it's
Right, Brother Zion. But he so passionately and so rightly described that the stigma around mental health needs to go, and we really need our communities to embrace the issues of mental health, and he's absolutely right. And I think it's very important. And he's talking about all the wounds we have as a community. I mean, the oppression for hundreds and hundreds of years, and I think yes, and this idea that we need to work on what that has done to us as a people, to our identity, to our and to our yeah, to our health and generally to our mental health. He was talking about depression and so on and so forth. So yeah, so connection issues. We have lost some of our friends.
It's just you and me, sis.
Yeah, so hopefully they're gonna find their way back. Anyway, so the last tenant is the love for the African nation or the Black race. So, and I think that is something that is Pan-Africanism, isn't it? It's not only loving your community, loving your family, loving yourself, love for the creator, but loving everybody, loving all people of African descent, the Black race, embracing that and trying to unify in our, yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of healing to do. That was just one of the comments. So yes, and this idea that we embrace and love everybody and working together. And I think one of the things is, and the issues is, I think, is on the one hand, it's easy to, as I said before, it's easy to love and to show love and to love and to embrace and to work together when you're on the same page. What happens if you're not? What happens if you're completely on different pages? How do we overcome our differences to be able to work together? And I personally do sometimes struggle with this, like this idea of, somebody completely different value system to me, and complete sees the world completely different. And as I was talking about the generational, discrepancy, or somebody denying my voice, or because I'm a woman, or because I'm a certain type of age, or because I'm born in the diaspora, or because so this idea that no, I'm not, I say, like, I don't speak up despite being an African woman. I speak up because I am, and I see that we are one. We are like, and that is our motto, is we are one, we are Africans, and embracing my Africanness in its fullness. And sometimes when you interact, and what is an African, who is an African, who's allowed to call themselves an African, who has a voice, and so on and so forth, you get sometimes lost in, like, oh, are you African enough? Are you, what is this? And I think with Pan-Africanism is there's absolutely, that's the one thing you don't have to do anything about. You're just African, you know what I mean? If people like it or not, you're just African. It doesn't matter about how old you are, or anything like that, or you are wherever you're born, and that is Pan-Africanism. And embracing that and saying, okay, me, myself, with my ideas, with my with my faith, and with my my belief system, my value system, my whatever I am as African as, and I'm embracing this, and embracing everybody with and he or she with her value system and her belief system and so on, is as African as you, and we somehow need to come together in our with our differences, and see this through. And I think that's also where the self-love and the love for the creator and the community and the families plays into this. So if we see each other as a family, coming together as the African family, to work together in despite our differences. And I think it is challenging, isn't it, sister? It is challenging. It's not something that that is easy and that will happen overnight. But this is something that we really need to work on, because that's where it starts, I guess.
Yeah. It is challenging, like you said, because we're so different. There's so many of us from so many different places, having so many different growing up experiences. And we're influenced by so much around the world, depending on where we are, where we were born, where we were raised, who raised us. So many things make us who we are. And so to accept, first of all, that you're Black, or if you want to call yourself African, because there's even that argument. Do you call yourself just Black? Do you accept the fact that people call you Black, or do you see yourself as African? Because I know there are Black people who don't see themselves as African, and then, like you said earlier on, that there are some Africans who don't even see themselves as Black. But so to make it simple, I think anyone who's got this skin color, we have this duty to basically love one another. Why? Because so many people hate us already. We can't afford to hate on each other. On top of it, we already have an issue in that we have to heal from a lot of the self-hatred that we have, which comes back into this self-love that we spoke about. We have to develop that self-love. We've got a lot of healing to do as a people. We've been taught to hate each other through colonialism, through slavery. We've been taught, Caribbeans been taught to hate Africans, Africans being taught to hate Caribbean. All of that healing has to take place. And so we have to come to a point where we say, as a principle, because you're black, I don't care, because I've got enough people hating on me already. I go to work, I see it. My kids go to school, they see it. They go to college. There's too much hating on us already. So we have a duty to really just learn as a principle, love one another, because there's too much against us already. This is where the unity has to come in. We've got to say to us, we've got to make up our minds, because if we don't, we're doomed. If we don't come together, we're doomed. We have to do it. We have to do it, you know, and we have to learn to have compassion. Just like the brother said, talking about mental health. I think the way to you know, to overcome some of the things is to have and develop compassion and understanding one for another. Once we can do that, we can overcome so much. We can, but you know, and take pride in the fact that we're black. Learn to be proud of who you are. Black pride, you know, be proud. I'm black and I'm proud to be black. There's nothing for me to be ashamed about. You know how many races are going out there tanning their skin trying to be black? I need to be proud of myself. You know how many of them are wearing false behind and false this and false that to try to be like me, yet they don't like me. They are the one with the issue, not me. You know, and so we should be proud of who we are.
Absolutely.
You know, and love ourselves and love each other. That's what it should be about.
Absolutely. And that, you know, that the self-love comes into this, as you said before, this embracing who I am as an African. I am African. I have my hair. I love my hair. I love, you know, my lips, my hips, my nose. I
Yes.
love all of it. And, you know, as Africans, showing this pride in who we are as Africans. Absolutely. And as you said, we have no choice, to be honest.
We have to.
We have no choice. We need to come together. We need to be able to do so, as challenging as it can be. Because as I said, how do we love? You know, how do you love when people don't love you back? You know, sometimes you have these disheartening and discouraging moments, and where you're just like, okay, why am I doing this? Okay, when you get, you know, a lot of backlash, and it is not an easy thing, and otherwise we would have been there already. It is very difficult. It's working through colonialism, you know, this colonial mindset, and mental slavery. It's working through you know, our own personal differences. It's working through our religious differences. It's working through so much, and that's why these tenets are so important, and like that we also embed them into the whole year, not only on the 13th of February, but to the whole year, and saying, okay, you know, we walk in love and for one another, and as challenging as it is, because, you know, we have these differences, and somehow we need to embrace these differences and work together as a family. And so thank you so much for this. Now we've lost Brother Amos again, who is going to, we're just going to wait a few more minutes to see if he is going to come back on, because he is also a very talented musician, and he wanted to showcase some of his art. So we're just going to wait a little bit. But yeah, but as I said before, it's this idea that, you know, it's all intertwined. You know, self-love, family, the love for the creator or creation, the community aspect, and obviously everybody embracing this, having this Pan-African spirit, and this mentality. You know, if something happens to one of us, it happens to all of us. This Ubuntu idea of togetherness, and that is very very important for us, in order for us to move forward, and to and to also challenge ourselves and each other, and in having the self-confidence to say, okay, I'm you know, I'm brilliant. I'm brilliant. I'm part of this amazing community, and I can do this, I can do that. And I think that is very important in order for us to move forward as Pan-Africanists. And we have this duty. We do have this duty. And even if, as I said, even if I'm not getting along as such, or I have these differences, that somehow we need to be able to walk and to work together regardless.
There's a really interesting quote in the comments here, a really good one actually. It says, I like to live by the principle that we are more alike than we are unalike, and that's where we can start from. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we do. I remember, like, I personally grew up in Germany, so I didn't have so much Caribbean. Wasn't exposed to a lot of Caribbean culture. So when I moved to the UK, I realized I was like, and I was more exposed to Caribbean culture, and then there were some dishes. I was like, oh, what's that? And then there's just a different name for a very similar dish. Or I realized that, for example, Anansi stories were told in the Caribbean, and I was like, okay, and then you realize how close, and this idea of community and respecting your elders and all these things, these same principles, you can find them everywhere, and we are so alike. Absolutely. I think so. I'm just
what I find amazing about today, this has been going for 28 years, and I never heard of it until a few days ago, a few weeks ago, or a week ago. I never knew that Black Love Day actually existed. But by sitting down and discussing it like we have, I think it way surpasses Valentine's Day by miles, because of the things that that come out of the things that it embraces, the things that it teaches us, the things that it incorporates. Valentine's is all kind of fluffy and all to do about love and I don't know, what do you call it, aphilia love, flesh love, and it's all really very superficial and all commercialized, and I think this is the reason why this was created,
exactly,
because we're so much deeper than that. As a people, we have depth. We have depth, and all of this thing that the tenets focus on actually speak to the depth of the depths that we have, and embraces all of that and helps us to expand on it.
Yes.
And I think it's something that we should actually, it's a good thing to embrace. And I'm really surprised that it's the first time I'm coming across this thing, and it's a shame, because if I'd come across it ages ago, I could have taught my children to think about Black Love Day, and all that stuff, and
yeah, but I always think that's why it's this amazing platform is important. We can raise this awareness, so now people know about Black Love Day, and we can celebrate it, and we can embrace. It's not only about celebrating this one day; it's incorporating the principles and the tenets into our daily lives. Similar to the Kwanzaa and the principles there, and and that's why it's about raising awareness and just being like, okay, there are things out there for us and things created for us, and it's just about digging into this, and as you said, and embracing, and what you said before about appreciating, when we were talking about our community, appreciating what is out there, what has been created for us, and embracing it. Yes. So thank you so much for this. So it's Black Love today. Black Love.
And another thing, sorry sis, another thing that comes to mind is that the pressure that some of our men feel about having to get something on Valentine's Day. You don't kind of get it with Black Love Day. It kind of eliminates that. And I tell you, it speaks right up my husband's alley, because he's always maintained that I don't only love you on one day. I love you every day of the year. So I don't need to just show you love on Valentine's Day. That's his excuse. But it works. But with Black Love Day and all of its principles, we get away from that superficiality. We get away from it. This is more meaningful, because this is kind of love in action, this kind of thing, isn't it?
And that plays into what you said before, this love is a principle. That love is a principle, and and I just and a necessity maybe as well. It says here, there's another comment I'm just going to show. There are too many urban disruption and diversions for us to wrestle with. Of course there are, but it's by design, isn't it? It's something that is there to create division, because if we are divided, we can be conquered easily, isn't it? So a divided Africa is easy to exploit, and that's exactly why we need this, why we need to find ways to embrace our diversity and work together. But absolutely, it is difficult, and I personally, I'm learning as well. For me, it is also a journey. So it is challenging. Otherwise, we would be there already. So there are these difficulties, but we have no choice but to work through them. And yeah, okay. But thank you so much for this comment. Right. I'm not sure, brother Arthur. It's a shame. Um, it's a shame that brother Amos, yeah, he sent a message that he has network issues.
Oh, it's a shame.
Yes, it is a shame. And he's trying to reconnect. But yeah, it doesn't look very good. That's a big shame. But we will find a different opportunity for him to showcase his art and to perform. Just yeah, it's a shame, but that's what it is, isn't it? It's the issues with network, and it's very, very unfortunate. Yeah, just to wrap up, we've had this 5 tenets of Black Love Day. So we have the love of for the Creator, self-love and embracing yourself as Africans and as Pan-Africans and Pan-Africanists, and what that means. Okay, embracing yourself, loving yourself, challenging yourself to be better, challenging yourself to do right for and with your community, and and working towards a liberated Africa. We have the community and showing appreciation, love for your community, to support Black businesses, to support community initiatives, but also to appreciate community leaders. We also have the love as Pan-Africans for all of our people globally, no matter where we are, and no matter what value systems we have. So that is what Black Love Day is about, and it's very nice to be able to celebrate such a day, and to raise awareness about this day and the principles that are behind it, and just as you said before, to go away from this commercialized Valentine's Day that is celebrated tomorrow. It's not that if you if you would like to celebrate Valentine's Day, I'm not going to say you shouldn't, but just raising this awareness that there is Black Love Day, and that is for our community. It's a holiday for us, created by us, and it is more about. There are actually some rituals you could do about it, so you could do, but it's really about having these 5 tenets and embedding them into your daily life. So thank you so much. Unfortunately, we've had some network issues and lost some of our our brothers, but I think them as well. I thank you. Lovely to have this discussion with you about Black Love Day. It has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for everybody who has tuned in. Do you have any final comments you would like to say?
Well, I wish everyone a very happy Black Love Day, and I hope this is something we can do every year and see how we've moved on, and get a report. What have we done in the year?
Yeah, that would be
how have we improved? What have we achieved since
yes,
the last Black Love Day?
absolutely.
How have we improved in our community, and how has our family grown, and our love of self, have we grown as a person? All these kind of things we can explore. It's really fascinating. I find it very fascinating, and we can just give Valentine's Day a pass. This is so much more meaningful.
Like, what?
No
What?
pressure. Take the pressure off.
Yeah, absolutely, though.
Mhm.
Yes. So again, thank you very much. And yeah, and I do wish you as well. If you celebrate Valentine's Day, I wish you a nice Valentine's Day tomorrow. A happy Black Love Day today. I hope
Yeah.
you're gonna embed the principles into your daily lives. And I see you next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.